Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up for you. Let's not waste any time. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com. Right now, the market is $2.13 trillion, and it's off by 3%. 58,100 plus for Bitcoin, 2,400 plus for Ethereum, and USD Tether's 118 billion plus market cap. USDC at number 6 spot, 34 billion plus. Number 7 is XRP at 55 cents right now. Oh my goodness, a blue light special on XRP and Aisle X, off by 1.9 today on the 24 and off by 7.1 on the 7-day. Looking at the range of price, 56 to 57 cents here. We'll keep you up posted if it starts to go crazy. But you know what? We have some news to talk about in that regard. But first, let's talk about this. It's linked to access to private equity investment. And I don't mind telling you, the best private equity in the world. But here's the news flash today. I know a lot of you heard me talk about this company for years, but it's because they are the best private equity company in the world. And let me tell you something else. This proves it. Now it is open for all investors. Hello, U.S. investors. Are you hearing me? Yes. All investors, U.S. investors, click the link underneath, sign up and register, and get started with the most affordable minimums in private equity, by the way. I don't mind telling you that normally the height bar to enter private equity, besides being accredited, is having $200,000 or $150,000, but not at Link2. Link2 is doing everything they can to legally take down the walls to private investing, to make it available for every person. And they're doing it right now. And all you have to do is click the link to get started below. According to data from Whale Alert, a whopping 114.34 million XRP tokens were transferred from unknown wallets to centralized exchanges. Number one, it wasn't me. We can all just take a seat on that one. Number two, a lot of this stuff that's talked about here recently is being asked, could this be transition of XRP to satisfy a settlement somehow? Well, these are unknown wallets, so we really don't know the answer to that. But it does lead us to ask the question, because the rumor has been circulating that Ripple has paid the $125 million fine to the SEC, and that we could see a significant announcement expected next week. Now, if this is rumor or trumor, I'm going to have to wait for Mr. Intuitive to come in on this one. But until then, Armando Pantoja has our attention. We're paying attention next week. I'd love to see it. Here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Harry Dent, major investor, says that he is expecting a global economic crash, and he's expecting that within the next 6 to 12 months. And I'm inclined to agree with Harry Dent on this, because I believe that we're going to see the rug pull on the economy right after the election. And if it's as bad as I think it is, it could even happen going into the election, which is really where we're about at now, September 1st. So and keep this in mind too, as a couple things to note today. You know, we're waiting for what? To find out about the appeal on the case of the SEC versus Ripple, should there be one or not. Then we're waiting for the launch of the real USD. We're also hearing that Senator Chuck Schumer says that they could pass legislation for crypto out of the Senate before the election, which is November 5th. So inside of 60 days, and I would think they would want to do that probably within inside 30 days if they're going to do it, so they could get as much of a push towards going into the election booth, right? So we'll see if they're going to do that, or does it just become more hot air from Harris's team? Meanwhile, there's reason enough to be putting crypto legislation through, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the start of it. You're going to see a lot more of it in just a second. Payments in national currencies among Shanghai Cooperation Organization, known as SCO, members have reportedly increased from 40% using their national currencies, 40% to 92%. And this is signaling a strong move away from the reliance on the U.S. dollar. So, and to add to that point, Turkey wants in on the BRICS coalition. The latest from the foreign minister has said, certainly we would like to become a member of BRICS, so we'll see how it goes this year. We already know Algeria just got off the official nod to join BRICS' new development bank, throwing down $1.5 billion to make it happen. That's how serious they are. BRICS crypto payments could be key in overtaking the US dollar, and India could be one of the first to turn to crypto entirely in trade. And don't forget how big India is when it comes to remittances around the world, which is a whole nother conversation. And don't forget all of the direct and indirect connections inside of India with Ripple and XRP. This is really moving to a place where I feel like, listen, we're kind of, as crypto holders who have been held hostage waiting for clarity in the United States, I think we're in, and I referred to it as we're in the catbird seat, right? And that we could see a squeeze play. And that in order to get the crypto legislation and win votes for the Democrats, which are obviously hurting terribly every time you hear Harris speak, she loses another million Democrats. But if you just think of it for a moment, either they pass it or Trump's going to. So we're getting it. What matters now is what is it going to look like depending on who actually passes it. And we can't forget I don't want to take the wind out of the sails here. I think we get it. But let's not forget that, Congress in the United States put legislation through for just one definition of broker-dealer and screwed it up. And it still remains screwed up to this day, right? Fingers and toes, ladies and gentlemen, fingers and toes. Ripple to the rescue, however, I covered yesterday, and I think this is worth really paying attention to and highly noting this on a higher level today because of everything that I've just shown you. The U.S. is acting, or certainly the Biden and Harris team are acting as if they have forever to make a decision. I just showed you the concrete evidence of what the world is doing, and the U.S., as far as I'm concerned, absolutely realizes this, no matter what administration is in, incompetent or not. I think there are some things as massive as what we're witnessing in the financial payments world, value protocols, because as Christian Carlo had said, and I think rightfully so, he who has the gold makes the rules. He who controls the payment rails runs the world. That's why this is important. That's why I firmly believe that whether it's Biden, Harris, Trump, someone else, it's too big to ignore. And I have to believe deep down in me, glass half full, that they're not ignoring it. I have to believe deep down in me that this is so big, in fact, and that the U.S. economy is the largest economy in the world, that we have to go last because of the danger of what could happen if we tried to go too soon. Not to mention the fact that what's at risk here, other than the world economy and stability, is the collapse of our own U.S. dollar, which the world is clearly sick of. Something must happen. Ripple's plan here to come in and serve the small, medium enterprises known as SMEs, engaging in global business, has highlighted the need for more efficient cross-border payment solutions. And why did they do that? Because they can go under and around the banking world to help these small, medium enterprises in a way that they can't currently serve the financial world because of the lack of clarity. But that, I believe, is soon to change. And when it does, I think you're going to see a massive fight for the small banks to try to begin to use this new technology to capture some of the gatekeepers' property. The JP Morgans, who have been the gatekeepers of cross-border payments since they were a real thing, right? Since they become an actuality. And now, for the first time in history, that's being challenged and threatened to the large gatekeepers of the world. It's no wonder we've been in a crypto winter. August 30th white paper shows Ripple is looking to bring its technology to small banks. Obviously, in order for that to happen here in the U.S., we're going to have the OCC back off, the SEC back off. And in order to get that done, you're going to need legislation. So let's get it done. I think it gets done either way. Then here's a little piece of information that's quite interesting. Amelie attached an image showing lines of code suggesting that XRP has been tested within Swift's framework. If you get down in here and look at this, and I just went over BRICS plan and XRP strategic position to serve the world as a bridge asset. That's why I believe BRICS coalition is so worthy of following, because they can bring such a new payment system with so many countries onboarded together that you're going to have a bridge asset in between to deal with these different fractionalized payment systems and platforms around the world. It just makes sense to me. But here's the image that Amelie shared here. And you can see it shows the connection between R3 finance obligation contract and then obviously Ripple and XRP payments here. You can see the connection in the code. So look, I mean, I don't think Swift is, obviously we know Swift is familiar with XRP. We know because the former CEO sat on stage with Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, several years ago. They know who each other are. There's no, oh, I didn't even realize you guys were doing business. Well, of course they do. Of course they do, right? So we'll have to see where this goes. But again, I believe this comes back to the logjam, which is legislation. And doesn't it make sense as much as it pisses you off? Of course, it does me. Yes, we're waiting for the largest economy, the largest superpower of the world, to give the nod and put clarity through to introduce these assets as a complement inside the system. XRP, XLM, XDC, you know the players. We know them. Growing interest in institutional investors in crypto assets could propel the total market cap beyond $10 trillion by 2030 in just another 6 years in a car loan. $8 more trillion in this space. And if they push USD Tether out of the market and it happens to suffocate, let's say 80% of this market because they kill Tether, or it goes away, then how much of the rest of that 8 trillion, because we're at 2 trillion slightly over now in the market, how much of the rest of that $8 trillion goes into XRP, XLM, XDC? Because I'm imagining by then, certainly by then, we should have clarity to allow that much money to come into this space. And when it does, it'll be for institutional use and utility. So you tell me where the money's going to go. Former BNY Mellon Anthony Morrow helped turn the niche securities product into $1 trillion global asset class. And what I love about this is he goes into a description here and talks about, you know, why would anybody stay in the current traditional legacy system when you could join something like Uphold, use a stable coin on the protocol, earn 5%, and at some point people are going to wake up to it and just say, why don't I just keep my money at a place like Uphold? And you know what? He's right. And I'll tell you the interesting thing about this. Now, we just spent all this time talking about the countries, the geopolitical situation, BRICS coalition. We just talked about the small, medium enterprises, institutional use. We need the legislation. We do. But then there's the other side of the component, which is the harder side to onboard, which is every single citizen of the world. And remember, Ripple and Uphold's partnership is to unlock the enterprise side of the business on the backside for payments 24/7, 365, which they're already doing. And that'll take Uphold from being just an exchange and riding the ups and downs of a speculative investment market. And it'll take them into a full-on business for payments. This is remarkable because it serves not only the enterprise side, but Uphold is already set up and truly compliant to serve the consumer citizen side. And I couldn't be more excited because I think this is one of those companies that wins on both sides of the table. And there's not many out here that could say that. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I hope you guys have a wonderful day with family and friends. I know I'm about to, and I don't take it for granted. Boy, I'm so lucky to have the life that I have, and I'm so very grateful for each and every one of you tuning into the channel every day. Please hit that like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. And make sure if you want to get more content, you join digperspectives.com, click the Freedom Zone, and come on in. Not financial advice from me or anyone else.